This is Sound Up with Mark Goodman and Alan Light, the only music podcast that matters.
Hey, I'm Mark Goodman.
And I'm Alan Light, and welcome to Sound Up.
On today's show, Gavin Rossdale of Bush is joining us for a deep conversation about songwriting, Bush's 30-year career, new music, and their upcoming tour in support of Loaded, their first greatest hits package.
We also have our new music picks of the week, just like we do every week, and a reminder that you can find those in our Sound Up soundtrack playlist over on Spotify.
You can. First, though, Alan and I bumped into each other amidst 60,000 people or so at MetLife Stadium over the weekend. We both were at the second Rolling Stones show in this area, part of their Hackney Diamonds tour. I had a blast. I was waiting online to get noodles, and who walks up behind me but Alan Light? What are the odds?
Saw you the first thing when we walked in the stadium. 60,000 people. You're the first two that we saw, so can't beat that.
I literally was like, hey, I'll text you, we'll see.
Yeah.
So, first glance, what do you say?
What do you say? The show was pretty stunning. And of course you go to, these guys are superhuman. They're 800 years old. How are they still doing? But let's just put that aside. Let's just take that as given. Like, okay, it makes no sense that they're still out there, they're still doing it, any of that stuff. It's still a clinic for a rock and roll band. Yeah. I mean, it is still, what is amazing to me is all the spectacle, all the scale, all the size of a stadium show that you get at the heart of it. And it's still this like bar band playing. It's still sloppy. They're still missing stuff. They're still messing up songs. They're still screwing up intros.
Yep.
And it is still such a living, breathing rock and roll band. And the things that they really lock in and take off is just still so thrilling. When you hear it come together and it just roars. The fact that they still do that, and the fact that even within, it's not just they're this thing and there's this huge production around them and it runs like clockwork, and that
there's no flash pots, there's none of that stuff.
And this is even, they're not still doing like the blow up dolls, the cherry pickers. Like there's big projections and screens. It's a stadium show, but there's not a lot of trickery going on. And last thing I'll say, and then I want to know what you hear. What I really want to know is what your wife said, who'd never seen them before.
Yeah.
But I got to say that Keith was so much more present and active than the last time I saw them was 10, 12 years ago on the 50th anniversary tour, I guess, or whatever it was. And I remember coming back and really feeling like, okay, they hold Keith back for his moments.
Yeah.
Like he's there. He's kind of doing the thing. Ronnie is really the one holding the guitar parts together. And then there are sort of the Keith showcase moments and they have to pace him. And this did not feel like that at all. He was soloing much more. He was playing much more throughout the set. I don't want to say he sounded better than he did 10 years ago. Sounds crazy. But that was really kind of how it felt that night.
I agree with you. It seemed to me, and I'm glad that you mentioned it, because I thought, it does seem, and I just saw them at Racket, and that little teeny, a couple of hundred people show.
6 or 7 songs, right?
And he felt like that there, but I wrote it off to, well, they're going to do 7 songs,
right? And
it's a little tiny club, no problem. But you're right. I really got that sense from him. He was more out front, more. I mean, do I want to say more confident? I don't know if that's probably the right word, but yeah. And it's like they don't have to do much. Just be the Stones, I'm good with that.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
And Jagger was like the caricatures of him. He was doing the rooster thing. He was everywhere. And I forget which song. Was it after Sympathy? After one or Honky Tonk? One of them, he was out on that sort of peninsula that comes out from the stage, way out. And he sprinted all the way back to the main stage and kept on singing. I mean, amazing.
So I was sitting, maybe you can figure out.
Check out Alan's post.
Catwalk, right? I was right to the
Yes.
side of that. But it meant when he came out and did that, he was right in front of me doing the Mick, really the dancing, the moves, the pointing, the Mick stuff. And, it's incredible to just watch that really close up, and just a couple of songs that were just, devastating. I mean, they played Bitch 3 or 4 songs in.
Yeah, and I don't see that.
I'm done tonight. Like, if they don't do anything the rest of the night, I'm good. They just slayed that. And it's not an obvious, it's not a single. They hadn't played it on the tour first night.
Yeah.
They played it. And I've, going back and watching the YouTube clips of that song, and it was as good as I thought it was. Keith's playing all over it. Playing against that horn part is great. And first time in the tour, they played Midnight Rambler, which was, I thought, just extraordinary because it started kind of shaky. It did not. It started.
Is that the one where they screwed up the intro?
There was a moment they screwed up the intro. They screwed the intro. I think Keith missed the first chord of the whole night. They came out and opened with "Start Me Up," and
I know.
They're in a different key. I get it, but also like he missed the first chord of the night. Okay, but Midnight Rambler, I guess, because they haven't played it for a while, and it felt for a while a little loose and a little like, are they going to find it? And by the end, Jagger was singing "Come On in My Kitchen," the Robert Johnson song, in the middle of it. And it felt like, do they know, had they rehearsed this? Is this just a thing he's doing? And it really felt like, okay, they're feeling out where this is going, which is an amazing thing to feel from that band at this point and that kind of a stage, all of that, that they're just still out there playing.
It's true. And you want to know what my wife thought. My wife, who is, never seen the Rolling Stones and really, really wanted to, bucket list kind of a thing. And she wasn't sure going in. She's, she likes music. She loves music, but it's not her stock and trade as it is for us. And she wasn't sure. Well, I think now, do I know that she knew every song, every song. And, she's younger than I am, so she doesn't have the history that both of us do really with the band. But every song she knew. And that says something, I think, about the band. And
to be fair, not every song
we're a hit single.
I mean, they're all famous songs, but they're not like, this wasn't, here's the 20 biggest Stones songs. Like, they were still playing Get Off My Cloud or Bitch or, some of the things that are less, not the full slam dunk.
She loved it. She even loved the new songs. The Keith song, on our night, they did Tell Me Straight along with Little TNA. The other night here in the New York area, I'm trying to remember what the other Keith. You got the silver, right. I knew that they hadn't done Tell Me Straight before, which wasn't one of my favorite songs on the record. I think it's really cool when Keith gets to sing. I like hearing him do that on his particular tunes. Not one of my faves, that one.
Yeah, it's not a great. I mean, there's now the Keith ballad slot, and this isn't the best of those on the recent album. Some of them I actually do quite like a lot. I can't remember the titles. The Bigger Bang version of that, I think, was a better Keith ballad than this one. The worst was that one, which I quite like. This one's not great, but it was still fun. I mean, he'd never done it. It was the first time they'd done it. And, it was still sort of sweet to hear it within all
to see Keith, as you say, being present, really being upfront. And he ain't a great singer, but he's Keith, and he sounded perfect behind Mick. It was the harmony that we're used to.
Oh, and they did Wild Horses and they sang together. It's, that sounded fantastic. And can we just talk? I mean, of course they close with Satisfaction.
Yeah.
Like, we know they're going to close with Satisfaction. They always close with Satisfaction. I thought they absolutely destroyed Satisfaction and played it like you've never heard this song before.
Yeah.
I mean, it didn't feel like this is a song that we all know every note of for our entire lives. They kept soloing. Like, that's a thing they could just phone in and walk out. It's the closer. They know it's going to work, whatever. They just kept going and went in on that song, which just felt like you don't need to do that. At the end, they're done. They're finishing. Keith's still playing the riff. Like, it had that, we don't want to let it go. Like, we're in a thing here. And the fact that you still get that vibe off of them, I mean, I don't know what to say. Like, we know they're the Rolling Stones. Like you said, you're just there to see them be the Rolling Stones. But what it feels like is still coming out of them.
And to feel it at MetLife Stadium.
The worst place in the world.
The worst place in the world to see a show. And there's only a couple of performers, I think, who can really make you feel that in that setting. I think Bruce Springsteen has been known to do it. And the Stones, maybe there's one or two other bands who can do that. And I walked out of there feeling like great. If this is the last time I saw these guys, this is phenomenal.
Yeah, and I've felt that before, but like I said, what really stood out, one thing that really stood out to me, again, it was a while ago, because I was looking. They came, I guess, once through New York in like 2018 or 19 that I guess I missed.
Yeah.
But other than that, the last they came through was, 10, 12 years ago. And I really felt like Keith, not as on his last legs, but it felt like they were protecting him. And this much longer, and it didn't feel like that at all. And yeah, Steve Jordan filling in, taking over the chair from Charlie Watts. I thought Steve sounded great.
Yeah.
I mean, he's a different sort of a player than Charlie is. And it's certainly on the album, on the Hackney Diamonds album, it's recorded very differently. You get a very different feel. But I actually thought he did a great job, keeping the sense of Charlie's swing and Charlie's feel on those songs without feeling like he was just carbon copying the
I agree. And I guess, obviously he'd worked with Keith before and he's worked with them before.
Yeah.
But there was something about his history, he's played jazz like Charlie has, and he's played rock and roll like Charlie has. And maybe the confluence of those two inputs is what wound up making Steve be able to do it as well as he has.
No, I thought it really worked without drawing attention. Was it going to draw too much attention to he's doing a different thing, it feels different, or, was he just not going to be able to power it? And it made me jealous of you seeing that I'm still sad I wasn't able to go to that racket thing. And it made me jealous of my friends who saw the band at Jazz Fest.
Yeah.
Because it was without the production. I mean, not that, again, the production wasn't even that big or distracting or anything, but like the more you can just focus seeing them play, seeing the rock and roll band at the center of all of that. And this had that feel, still had that feel.
The one thing I'll say before we jump is I wanted to just mention Chanel Haynes. She is one of the backing vocalists, and she had to, fill in, if you will, for Mary Clayton, and came out to the front of the stage and just crushed it. I mean, you got to step into some pretty serious shoes. She sounded phenomenal. She was right there all night.
She gets two big moments because she has the Gimme Shelter that you're talking about, and then she has the Lady Gaga part
on Sweet Sounds
of Heaven from the new album. So she gets two big features. Yeah. I guess she played Tina Turner in the London production of the Tina musical, right? Because she's definitely got that vibe.
Sure. So I just wanted to shout her out how phenomenal she was, and what a great addition for sure. So all right, we both love the show.
That your wife loved the show is the big win. Again, the response of somebody who'd never seen them is really interesting to me. I mean, my wife loved it, was out of her mind, but loves them and has seen them, over the years and is dialed in. Nothing is more hyped up than you're going to go see the Rolling Stones. Does it live up to that?
Right. For sure. And I'll say this just as a side note as we go to break. She was so sick. She was really ill, and she was up on her feet and dancing her ass off. So extra kudos to the band for getting my wife out of her seat on a night when she just could have sat there all night long in bed. She was great. So, all right. So we both liked it. I mean, I don't know, 9 out of 10. I give it, if there is such a thing as 10 out of 10. Yeah, sure. Why not? All right. So we loved it. We are going to take a fast break here. And when we come back, our conversation with Gavin Rossdale.
This is Sound Up with Mark Goodman and Alan Light, the only music podcast that matters.
Welcome back to Sound Up. Gavin Rossdale is an overachiever. As the frontman, guitarist, and songwriter for Bush, he delivered the 6-time platinum debut album 16 Stone in 1994 through the string of smash follow-up albums. Gavin has managed to survive and thrive. He won the prestigious Ivor Novello Award in 2013 for International Achievement in Songwriting. Gavin has even dipped his toe into the acting world, winning roles in film and television. The songs that provide the foundation for this better than 30-year success story are collected in the latest release from Bush called Loaded, the greatest hits 1994 to 2023, out now in advance of that headlining tour of North America kicking off July 26th in beautiful Bend, Oregon. Welcome, Gavin Rossdale.
Thank you.
Great to... I know, it's probably weird listening to that, I'm sure. But before we get into the greatest hits album, which is your most current, the last album of new songs you did was The Art of Survival. I want to talk about some of the songs on there, but the lead single, More Than Machines, just goes at a number of topics that must be on your mind. Women's right to choose, the environment. Not that you haven't done social stuff before, but is it more important now for you to write songs like that?
Not that those issues have quieted down in the years in between.
Indeed.
You know, like, you can go back to 16 Stone and you can listen to a song called Bomb. And I grew up in North London in a place called Swiss Cottage, and next to it, where I played football for the youth club, it was Kilburn. Kilburn was a heavy Irish area, super Irish. And I had a girlfriend, Jill Hurley, beautiful Irish girl. So I was always in Kilburn, and you would have like the IRA and the Protestants. So where I grew up, they still were bombing. There still were bombs going off in London, and like it was, you know, scary. So sometimes we'd be out playing football. You see the Orange Day Parade. So you see all the Protestants, you know, and they're all just fighting each other, you know. And you know, some pubs would be the IRA, some pubs would be, you know, Billy Mulligan's was IRA, that is Catholic, and Protestant UDA, Ultimate Defense Force. Anyway, whatever. So it was scary. And so I wrote that song Bomb about going out. What would it be like if you go out shopping one day and you go out wanted to buy shiny red things, and then you just die. You know, the randomness of death, you know. So that was my first record, right? So I've always tried to have, like, never, I don't know enough to sort of stand on any kind of pedestal and tell people what to do or anything like that. But to sort of have viewpoints of things or discussions about things, isn't it weird? So it's never like, so therefore I wrote it from a personal view of someone shopping. So yeah, I've always wanted to have social issues within it. I mean, I think you have to, and I probably could talk to any record we've done, and within it, there'll be something that's not far of this. Have I got better at being more articulate and sort of voicing things? I definitely have, because as we reach the second half of our lives, it's like the edit. You just get better at editing. So I was like, fuck, if I want to say like, that issue about women's rights really upset me. I you know, see so many things, you almost become inured to things. You know what I mean? It's just like, think that affects me. Does it really affect me? And that really affected me.
Well, that's why we need you to write songs to snap us out of it.
You know, if somebody imposed a law on me about my body when at one point, whatever, it would be, I find it really uncomfortable. So when I wrote that song, The More Than Machines, I was like, it was the last song for the record, and I was like, you didn't tackle that. You didn't say anything about that. Why didn't you say anything about that? You know, I'm talking to myself when I'm writing, like, fuck, it's your last shot. The other songs have gone. And he couldn't fit that lyric in. And then I just was like, just figured out that I just thought girls are in control, not the government. And it just sort of, I was like, oh my God, it was like the biggest relief line of mine that I could come up with. Like, I was so relieved because it was like a thorn in my side to have not, it seemed so disrespectful. Like, I wrote This Is War because of Charlottesville. And I even used the Nina Simone lyric, and nobody picked up on that. This is war, this is the strange fruit. And I just thought, not even one person in the entire world. I was like, fuck, it's hard sometimes.
Talking to the wrong people, Gavin.
You do, right. It's all right. You do your best. You open the door.
But whatever, you know, it still exists. So, yeah.
Yeah.
Loaded, the greatest hits collection is what's out now. Is it a taking stock moment to put something like that together? Do you feel like you've already gone through that process for putting tours together and everything else? Or, you know, is there something that comes with looking back across the 30 years and pulling those songs out and seeing what that adds up to?
That was like my manager's idea, that it was the right time to do that. He thought it was a smart way to, two things. He thought it was smart to have another song come out, like Nowhere to Go But Everywhere, whilst I was finished doing this record, which we just finished a record. So it kind of gave us a little space, and more importantly, which I completely undervalued and hadn't really thought of that perspective, was it was like he said it's time to celebrate. You know, you can move on and you can keep going doing what you're doing now, and you're making great songs now, and that's fantastic. But you can't ignore what you've achieved over these 3 decades, and you should celebrate that. And you should like put a moment in time when that record loaded, put it out. And so that's what it was. And, you know, that's why we have people to help us to sort of support us when we're not thinking the right way or whatever like that.
Okay, so you weren't really intimately involved in the song selection, but you approved the project.
We just did it chronologically and numbers wise. It was just that, so we did it chronologically. But we had to leave 4 off. So the challenge for me is to try and get a couple more hits and have like a short greatest hits record number 2. You know, that'd be like, I got 4 and I'm going to achieve it. I'm going to get it. You know, maybe 8 or 9 songs, you know.
You mentioned Nowhere to Go But Everywhere. I love that song. The first lines, I've been looking for a starter kit, finding ways to keep it lit. I love that. It's like, I'm trying to keep this going for you people. I don't have the tools, but geez, I'm going to try and figure it out.
So I mean that generally about my life. I just meant that about like every day. Life is just so magical because when you're young, like you think you know everything to a degree. And as you get older, you realize the less you know. You're like, how you like think about what you're getting away with on the lack of knowledge or not the poor, but just you feel the world is so vast and you can know so many things. It's really hard to keep up. You know, it's really hard to keep up with being smart because honestly, you know, from world history to financial to music to art, it's just, you know, there's a lot going on. So yeah, I just think I think it's an incredible acknowledgement. I think life, you have to stay curious. By staying curious and accepting that you keep needing to learn, you know, keep needing to push, good things happen when you push as opposed to just sort of, I mean, I suppose you could just decide I could just stop being creative and just like play those songs.
Could you? Could you really do that? Could you stop?
No,
one could do that. You, however.
No, I just think that it just keeps you in the game by being sharp. And that sharpness comes from knowing that people are making great records. And so, you know, like I could go write songs. I'm in my studio now. I could write a song, an album, but if it can't penetrate our set, or if it can't be as strong as a lot of the records that I hear coming out, there's like literally no point in recording it. It's just like, oh God, it's like, you know, phoning it in or something. So I just love that challenge of just, you know, just like, what can I do? What can we do? What can we do to keep this, keep it really interesting? And my way is like, I just think of, all you got to do is think of David Bowie and look at his songs and what he achieved and just kind of think, well, I look at my catalogue, then I look at Bowie's catalogue, then I look at my catalogue and I go, there's a lot of room for growth. There's a lot of room for growth.
And also that he literally did it until his final days.
Yeah, I mean, Black Star.
Oof.
Fucking what a record.
Oh
I got to tell you, I did, they had a tribute or his alumni reunion. Mike Garson set it up just when he passed. And I sang, you know, I'm Afraid of Americans with the original band, the original lineup. And so lots of singers went, a lot of singers played there. Sting as well. And Sting did...
something from Black Star? The
single? He did Black Star, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
no, just Black Star. Black Star. That was incredible.
So you said that it's interesting that the new songs have to fight their way into the set and stand up to that standard. You're gearing up for tour. I know you're going to say, of course, you love going out and play. We still want to go out and play. But is it, you know, how do you feel staring down a tour at this point, a different place in your life, different place in the family? What are the feelings as you get ready to go back out?
Like, it's thrilling. I mean, it's a thrill because we've worked really hard, you know, for the last few years. With the Kingdom, with the Art of Survival, we've co-headlined, we've opened, we've done stuff I never dreamt I would either have to do in Bush or what I did do in Bush, you know? So people don't prepare you for a catapult into being an enormous band, and they don't prepare you for when you're up in that rarefied air, how do you maintain that and how do you have that and consistency. And so this point where we're at is literally a consequence of like some insane consistency, strong records, really strong performances. I mean, my favorite thing about my band and the way they play and the guys that I play with, the other 3, is that they're so damn consistent. There's no off night for them. There's off sound. So sometimes it might be not as good a sound. It's not as rewarding, but it's never them. Anyone fucking out me in an interesting way is me. You know, I'm really good at fucking up in a cool way, but they're so pretty consistent. I mean, they're very, very, very consistent. And that just, it's so important and so strong, you know, it's essential, you know, and that's so I'm excited to go back out and be back in that fray. I'm weird like that.
It's weird to want to get back out into the fray. I think that's everybody in your position seems to be like that. You're all nuts.
Yeah.
I was going to say, do you tour the same way? Like, does your family come along? I know you have like some grown kids, I think.
I think that, you know what's so beautiful, that question I was getting some power, is I am organizing for my sister to come out. One of the things, it's a weird question that you asked that, because one of the things that's been a bit sad is that I don't have my family around enough from England, you know, and so on this tour I invited them out. Invited my sister out with her little kid to come out and see the show. I'm trying to get my daughter out, and I love having people come visit. You know, it's real good fun. You know, my own kids come for 2.5 weeks. Everyone loves the lifestyle. But the funniest thing about my friends come to hang out. They come out maybe for a week. And the first 2-3 nights are like, they want the tequila. Hey, the tequila's run out. It's like 3 a.m. I'm like, oh, we'll get some more tequila, right? And then by the 4th day, they're like, you know, do you mind if I just, watch a movie while you go? I'll be on the bus. You know, they totally wear themselves out. They go, no. I'm always like, guys, it's a marathon. This is not the sprint, and we don't have to finish tequila every night. So, it's funny because I don't know if you know that movie. It's an incredible Bronson with Tom Hardy. Have you seen that, where he plays Charles Bronson, the most famous violent prisoner? And he's like, most people, when he's amazing actor, Tom Hardy, and he's like, when he's talking about being in prison, in jail, he goes, most people fucking, they hate it, they don't like it, it's really, you can't bear this thing. He goes, I fucking love it. And that's really how I feel about, because sometimes you can talk about people that look like they phoned the show in. Sometimes you can see bands, older bands with more history. There's someone in the band who's like out there, but just like thinking about the extension on the house in the south of France, And I just like that going for it thing, always.
So we recently lost Steve Albini. We have talked about it on the show here. You worked on the Razorblade Suitcase album together. I know you remained in communication with him. A beloved, but also sort of, polarizing figure at times. Tell us about, your relationship with Steve and working on that album and beyond, and what that loss means.
That's a really horrific loss for me. He's a really good friend. So I stayed in contact with him and his wife Heather for forever. I didn't, consider them as part of my, you have your friend group at home. I've been a bit of a nomad forever. I left all my family, all my friends in England to move to America for love. And then I tour a lot, I work a lot, then I have kids. And I have a very tight circle of people that live in other cities, And Steve was like absolutely, one of my very, very important friends. So outside of music, it's just a horrific loss. He was only 61, which seems really very, very young to me to die suddenly. And so it's horrific, really. And so there's the whole personal side. I'm worried about his wife because I love her. And musically, making Razorblade was incredible. I always dreamed about going to make a broken down, sort of stripped back greatest hits record. So take all the songs that people know, then go do them in some really heartfelt, intimate way. And I thought no one better than him to record that. So it's one of those things that, I feel so robbed because there was so many more things to happen. Not least, he had a new shellac record. Not least, it was always fun to sit and eat with him. Not least, I had this project in mind that I thought could go to Chicago for a couple of weeks. I got another great friend in Chicago. I even knew the restaurants I wanted to go to. And I was thinking, it wouldn't be amazing to go there, just record for 3-4 days, just get some beautifully recorded Steve Albini. If you listen to the Dirty Three, he's not all just hardcore album, it's like beautiful things as well, very, very emotional. So as far as polarizing, he just was super opinionated and super acerbic, and I never fell too foul of that. You know, we had our differences at times about certain things, but not many. And he would find many people punchable. He'd look at he'd look at the music magazines, and he'd pick people that he would claim were punchable. And I, you know, to be fair, I couldn't agree more. Couldn't have agreed more. A couple of people that really, they just look punchable. They just do. You know that, and I know that, but you can't say it now, but they do. And so he was never wrong on who was punchable. So if he ever said that you were punchable, you were punchable. You are punchable. So, you know, and you know, if people had the chance to ever read, he did the liner notes for the Razor Blade Suitcase reissue. He did Bush liner notes, Steve Albini. He wrote some stuff about me that was food for my soul and spirit, you know, forever. And so I really miss a friend, and it's terrible. And if anyone, you know, gets a chance to listen to his new record, Shellac, they should, because that's an amazing band. And, you know, they're very good friends of mine as well, the band. And, you know, for them to not play those songs again is really sad. Like any, you know, when I die, someone could sing my songs and do them better versions of me than I can probably. So it's cool, and we can have a sort of a celebration of songs I've written. But the way that Shellac played as a band, he's irreplaceable. There's no one who could play and sing like him. So there'd be no sort of get-togethers to hear Shellac again, and then. So therefore it's the purest of frameworks of brilliance. You know, that was it, and you can't replicate it. And so people should look at it online. It's shocking. They're my favorite band I ever saw live. I would have choose them over any band. You know, maybe not all the songs on a record, but I still love them on record, amongst lots of other bands. But live, there's no other band I'd prefer to see.
Just because you have a greatest hits record out, it sort of leans us into a bit of retrospect, a bit of looking back. But at the same time, especially with a band like Bush and with an artist like you, it really is about moving forward. And even as we talk today, it's really clear. But the landscape today gets more and more and more confusing for people in your side of the business. The most recent one is Randy Travis. You know, the AI, he created a song. It's him. It's his own voice. He can't sing anymore himself, but AI has made it so that he can. AI everybody's talking about AI. We've heard different things. There's producers that we've spoken with who have said, it's a great tool. I'm really excited about it. And others have said it's the end of the world.
Yeah, I've sang about it. More than machines.
Machines, yes.
Well, the point about more than machines is that I've tried it. I tried ChatGPT, and I said, I want to write a song about heartbreak set in a Western setting, written by Tom Waits and Paul Auster whilst drinking a great bottle of wine, just to see what would come up. The good news is that there's literally no nuance. So the words have no nuance. There's nothing magical. So that's the last thing. When they get the nuance, which they inevitably will, I will have more time to sit on beaches and go travel the world, and I would have done my time.
I'm so surprised.
You know, like some cashiers don't have the same job now that you can check yourself out, you know? So we stopped selling records because of streaming. My only thing is that I think that when everything is crazy like this, because I've tried, by the way, Synth GPT, for example. You can describe any keyboard that you want or effect. It's not there yet. I got better keyboards for me to find that people have thought of. It's not there yet. So, yeah, I don't know Randy Travis well enough to know whether that was an improvement or not. I don't know.
Well, he signed off on it.
Well, yeah, you know, but I mean, I don't know. So, yeah, for things like that, if he can't sing, that's a beautiful thing that he's restored. That's machine and human working beautifully together, because that's what he wants. I think that, you know, for example, I think that mental health is a worthy subject with hundreds of daily suicides here across America, it's a worthy cause for me to devote my life to writing songs that lift people out of terrible places. I can't guarantee it, but I've met a lot of people who've told me that I've done that for them. So computers can't get into that empathy yet. They just can't, you know. And even if they can, I'm still doing it. So I'll go in conjunction with it. I think that AI is phenomenal. You know, it's an incredible thing. You know, the whole art, the thing of like, forget songs. It's like, are they going to take over the government?
Yes.
You know, they're going to take over the corporations. And we're like bitches anyway to the corporations. We're just fucking bitches and puppets. We've been moved around. We see that now. Everything is coming, you know, we've been lied to so heavily. Everyone's like, oh, by the way, processed foods are going to kill you. You know that profit those people made? You're all going to die from it. Oh, you've been using aluminum in your thing. You know, oh, everything's going to kill us. Oh, you know, what was it, 5 years ago? Oh, you're going to get skin cancer. Here, put this carcinogenic cream on you so you can... It's like everything is upside down anyway. It's a fucking crapshoot. So my only philosophy is to get as good as whatever you do. Like, I chose songs, and so my thing is I can't even think about that stuff. I just know the last song I did is fucking great. I know the last record I've written, this batch of songs, super cool. You know, ain't no AI machine catching up to that. But maybe by the next one, and then all that will mean is I get to go to Thailand finally and get to go experience travel, or go to Singapore and go to Japan for 6 months, live in Paris and like learn how to paint or something.
It's the birth of the Gavin Rossdale avatar.
If it happens, it happens, right? It's just like, what are you going to do?
One of my dear friends, a very, very prominent actor who has said, I can't wait, bring it on. Like, once they figure it out and they can make me do all the stuff they need me to do, they can have it, you know, I'll cash the checks and I'm out.
If you got like, it could be like the Blue Man Group. I mean, if I could go on tour but just still stay home.
Yes.
I'm a homebod. I love my home. I'm a homebod. When I'm home, my girlfriend, she's always like, oh my God, I would always rather stay home. I'd always rather people come to me, and I want to be invited everywhere and go nowhere. You know, that's my favorite thing. I'm like a Larry David. It's like, that's my whole jam. Love it. But I do like to go see bands. I saw Idols the other night. Fantastic band. Love that band. Great words. No fucking AI is taking out Idols. It's not for some time. So we got a bit of space. But the trick is just to keep the quality high. If you keep the quality high, I just believe that even if it's all over and AI does everything, there'll be a small niche of people that will be like, you know what? What about those people whose craft it is, like people that fucking make hand-pulled noodles their whole life? And that's their craft. What if my craft of these songs are being in Bush, and that's it. And that would always have an audience, if somewhat selective in the later years. I don't know.
All right. Fair enough. I'll tell you what, we're going to let you walk out the door here. I'm just curious if two questions. One, why is your brother such an asshole, and did you ever find him?
You know, the funny thing is, it's so brilliant because when I was a kid and I didn't like where I lived, and it was cold and dark and mean and rough, I had this view. Los Angeles felt like Xanadu. It was like this mystical land where just everything went right and dreams were granted, but I had no concept of why. Literally was an instinctive thing. And when I wrote that thing, Should I Fly to Los Angeles, the beginning of it, the first spill was, should I fly to Los Angeles, find my soul brother. And when I were going back through it, it didn't sing well, and I was like, if you want to make a record, don't forget that you love punk, don't forget the Sex Pistols. What would Johnny Rotten do? What would that be? Arsehole Brother. Find my Arsehole Brother. Because I was like, that's too, just sort of pop, it's like first, I've got a better word than soul brother. I got a way better one. And it was just that sort of tripping over words, and that's how that happened. And I found my life via Los Angeles, so I was onto something.
You were right after all.
I was something. Yeah, I was right.
Gavin, thank you so much for spending some time with us on Sound Up. We are all looking forward to this tour. You're talking about other bands that you love seeing live. We love seeing Bush live.
Where will we see? What show?
It looks like PNC in Jersey would be ours.
Great. So let's hang out, because I might have a party there because it's my son's birthday. So I might like a little gathering. So just come and have some cake.
There you go.
You can have your cake and eat it.
Everybody's invited.
Yeah, you can have your cake and eat it.
So I just wanted to ask real quick. So Gavin, last time I saw you, I think it was at Jones Beach. It was before. I think it was the last time you guys played here, and we were talking backstage about that first New York gig at CB's. And when you came up to MTV Radio and you were writing out the set list, and I remember you were worried that you guys didn't have enough songs, and you were like, we need. And I think you added.
Was right. I was right.
And you added like an REM cover, I think, that night, like The One I Love or something. Is it odd now, all 30 years later, like going back from that day to like probably making a set list now and going, shit, I got to leave some songs off. We've got too many.
Yeah, it's it's such a.
It's a great problem.
It's a really packed set list, and when you leave a few songs off, I mean, it's quite good to rotate through, but yeah, we're really lucky to do that. And now with the new record on the new record, it's a great fun thing. But I love playing the new stuff, and the old stuff. I don't want to play too long. I'm not into shows that go on too long, but.
All right, I like the way that sounds.
No, threatening.
I'm too old for like 4-hour concerts. Yeah,
no, a Bush show is a heavy-hitting show. I mean, the last time I saw Gavin winds up like in the rafters, like he's in the crowd at some point. He is all over the place. That's how he stays.
I think hour 45, hour 40, like an hour and 20 for the set, and then a 10-15-minute encore. It's just good.
It's kind of the same for movies too, don't you think?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I have to confess, and I woke up this morning thinking I've got to do it. I still haven't seen Oppenheimer because it's just so damn long, it's so serious. Long. I go, when I'm not ready. I haven't been ready yet, but I got to see it.
I always know when a movie is too long when we're in the theater because my wife will lean over and go, "This is really long, don't you think?" Yeah. All right. Thank you, Gavin. Many thanks to Gavin Rossdale. We've got our new music picks coming up here on Sound Up next. Stay right there.
This is Sound Up with Mark Goodman and Alan Light, the only music podcast that matters.
All right, welcome back. We've got just a couple of more minutes here, and we've got some new music picks. We always do those on our Tuesday show. So what do you got, Alan?
I found a bunch of songs that I liked this week. So I got 3 that I was going to call attention to here. All of these are from our lead singles, I guess, from upcoming albums. So we'll get them in here now and probably not come back to them when the albums come off because we don't want to just keep repeating stuff. The first from one of these young singer-songwriter girls named Clairo, who is one of these women, I guess one of these artists, who you maybe haven't heard of, but they have hundreds of millions of streams and can sell out, 2 nights at Radio City and sell out theaters and moving up to arenas around the country. There's these various viral, whatever it is that happens. These girls, Lizzie McAlpine, we've talked about, and Clairo, I guess this will be her 3rd album, which surprised me because she is still young. Jack Antonoff did the last one. This one she did with a different producer, a guy who worked with Dap Kings and Sharon Jones, and brings a little more sort of organic-y live instrumentation feel to it. This first single is called Sexy to Someone and is a very sort of almost classic pop song. Like keyboard, it's not quite a Carole King song, but it's in that sort of a vein. I think a really nice song, and I've been interested in her and curious to hear where this album's going to go. So Clairo is my first. Second is a new single from Amyl and the Sniffers, Australian punk band, sort of pub rock band. Around here we would call them an Irish Keith band for sure. Led by Amy Taylor. This one's a real sort of stomping kind of pub rock song called You Should Not Be Doing That. Amyl and the Sniffers are going out opening for a bunch of these Foo Fighter dates. So they're going to be playing stadiums in the States through the summer. But I really want to see these guys. I've liked the music before. Huge energy, screaming, loud rock band. Keeping it going with the new song. And finally, a band that's kind of the current sensation in the Americana world called Red Clay Strays. They have a song that's been number 1 6 or 7 weeks on the Americana charts. They're actually opening for the Stones this week in Boston, I believe. They're opening one of the Stones dates, which is an interesting booking. From Mobile, Alabama, Dave Cobb produced the new album. Of course he did. Very kind of sparse. It's almost got not quite a Van Morrison, but like a soul kind of country soul kind of feel to it. Very, emotional record. Song's called Wanna Be Loved, and definitely keeping an eye on Red Clay Strays and where that album's going to go and if they kind of go next level.
Excellent. I'm definitely jumping on the Spotify playlist. I haven't heard the Clairo song I've heard, but the other two, no. I'm certainly excited to check those out. My song of the weekend, and by accident, I think I was reading Lindsay Zolat's in the New York Times, or I can't remember, but I saw somebody mention this song from Lauren Mayberry from Churches. And it came out a few weeks ago, March, actually, to be fair, and I completely missed it. But this is from an EP that she's got, and she's the lead vocalist from Churches, by the way, and co-writer of the songs and stuff. And she's got this new song out called Change Shapes, new-ish, that is, I change shapes till you get what you want from me, or change shapes till I get what I want from you, is the line, which I thought, it's like this girl who's just sort of bending herself to be what her boyfriend wants. And yet Lauren Mayberry is such a feminist. She continues to work. She organizes. She set contributions. She's working with. She has an organization called TYCI. She does podcasts. Very active in terms of women's rights, etc. This song was sort of funny to me in that way, but so catchy. Change Shapes. I've got the band Camino also with a new EP from them. Bruises is the name of that. The EP was out, I think, last week, a week ago, Friday. And it's a 3-song EP. And I'll be honest, I kind of knew of the band Camino, but hadn't really listened to them before. And they caught me with the single, which was Nostalgia. So I went and I listened to the single and I really liked it a lot. But I like all 3 songs on this EP called Bruises. And finally, a band pretty new as far as I'm concerned, although they have been around for a few years, called Tiny Habits. And they have an album called All for Something, which just came out. The song that I was listening to, the single, is People Always Change. It is these 3 kids who met as students at Berkeley in Boston in the spring of 21 during COVID. They were living in the same dorm, and they used to sing covers of old songs in each other's dorm rooms. They would post that on social media, and as happens these days, some of these videos went viral on TikTok and Instagram, and they decided to form a group in January of 22, and they had a record deal by 23. That's the way it happened for these guys. But really, really cool. Tiny Habits. All for Something is the new one, and People Always Change. So those are my picks for new music.
I like that song a lot.
And just, for somebody whose daughter is struggling to make it, and in fact is going to be putting out some new music pretty soon.
Excellent.
For these guys, these kids, they're in it's COVID, let's sing songs. And a year later, they have a record deal. The music business, man, it's a cruel mistress. I will say that. So that's it. That's our show. Many thanks to you for stopping by, for spending some time with us. You can go to sounduppod.com to find out how you can be part of our live Sound Up, Sound Off podcast taping, and you can join the Sound Up Pod Squad. Email us or voice messages, etc. at connect@sounduppod.com.
You remember you can also hear our new music picks and the music we talk about on the show over on our Sound Up Pod soundtrack playlist on Spotify. Don't forget to give us a 5-star rating on whichever platform you listen to Sound Up on. And we will see you again in a couple of days. That's a show right there.
Sound Up is hosted by Mark Goodman and Alan Light, Produced by Roger Coletti, distributed by Revolver Podcasts. Get Sound Up on Pandora Podcasts, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts. To be a part of the show, email us at connect@sounduppod.com. Sound Up theme music is by Smile from Tokyo. We'll see you next time right here on Sound Up with Mark Goodman and Alan Light.